All right, guys, Mad Max back finally. It was a big interview. No better guest than the star in the making, the 20-year-old Adam Posener, main eventing BFL 83. How you doing, Adam?
Not too bad, man. How are you?
Doing well, man. Thanks, Adam. I guess first of all, how does it feel to be bumped up to the main event and finally fighting for that welterweight title? Is all of this coming sooner than you expected? And just how are you feeling in general about main eventing a big show?
Yeah, no, it feels, cool main eventing my first card that's on Fight Pass, big platform, it's a big fight, it's a big opportunity. And yeah, I mean, it came quick. And when you look at it all in retrospect, it's pretty cool how far we came.
Absolutely. And how is the training camp going? Are there any specific, guys on the Vancouver scene and, any specific BFL fighters that you're training with?
Yeah, no, mostly all the same guys, like, all the guys at Universal, Dan, Ash, all those guys. Dimitri, we've talked to him. He's the guy that I like training with. Those are my main guys, right? Those are probably my top three, if I had to say.
hmm And, what are your thoughts on Zackery Powell, 9-2 record? Just what are your general thoughts on your opponent?
Yeah, no, he's got a good record. He's a good fighter. He's from a good gym. I know this is going to be a tough fight. He's never been finished in like 11 professional fights or 20 total fights or something like that. I saw a story on that. So he's never been finished in 20 fights. So, you know, to be if I can get him to be the first one to do that, that'd be pretty sweet.
And I don't want to get anything wrong, but this is what I saw him say. So he's saying that he thinks that you're one-dimensional. He says that you may be uncomfortable on the feet. Mentioned that a 5-round fight, a 25-minute fight, will favor him. Also says that his experience will be on his side, and also he believes that he's a harder puncher, physically stronger than you, and says that your only hope would be to take him down, and you'll be super uncomfortable if you won't be able to. And he just says that you never faced any hard opposition yet, and he just plans to make you very uncomfortable in there. And just wondering, man, what would your sort of response be to all of that?
First off, half of those things I don't even know what that's about. So, I mean, yeah, no, like he is a hard puncher. I'll give him that, right? He's a solid fighter. He's strong. He is. Again, I know this is a tough fight, right? You don't gotta tell me, right? I took this fight for a reason. I know it's a tough fight. I'm here for tough fights. This is the toughest fight of my career. I'm fully aware of that, right? Yeah, he's got more experience, but again, look what got me here, right? I'm a skilled fighter. I deserve to be here for a reason. And as for, the one dimensional thing, right? Everyone thinks I'm one dimensional, right? No one knows until they're in there with me that, I haven't had to stand, right? This could be the one. We don't know, right? If I go out there and do the same thing, what's people going to say? Oh, he still can't strike, right? And then I go out there and strike, then, oh, maybe this guy can, right? So if he wants to think that, let him. It's going to
And
make my job
just
easier for sure.
absolutely. And from the BFL interviews posted with him, what I saw him say, and just the general opinion that I'm getting from him, is that he looks like a guy who, says that who looks like kind of like a bully, and he says that he's a tougher guy, stronger guy than you, and he sort of thinks like he's like a meaner guy, and sort of just wants to get in there and bully you. How amazing would it be to shut him down and get that belt wrapped around your waist and prove him wrong?
Well, getting the belt would be awesome, because that would be, getting me closer to the goals that I want. And as for the bully thing, man, like, you know, bullies are gullible, right? But again, I know he's a smart fighter. He's good. So this whole bully persona thing, right? The truth is, if he tries to think he's just gonna bully me around, that's a gullible way to think. And you're calling me a nice girl at prom. Well, bullies can't move on the dance floor, and I'll style on them on April 17th.
Absolutely. And would you say that there's sort of any bad blood between you guys?
No, he's just he does it with everybody, right? I would consider, what he's saying to me, on the lower end of what he's saying to other guys, right? He has been saying that I am a high level skilled fighter, and I've got a future in this game, right? Whereas this last fight with Mo, he was just saying that Mo sucks everywhere and how he's gonna destroy Mo, and they had actually a pretty close fight, believe it or not, I think. But
Mhm.
yeah, no, as for the whole bad blood thing, I don't think there's any bad blood, right? We're two high level fighters, right? If you think, on the regional scene, he's probably one of the top 170ers out east, and I'm probably one of the top 170s in the west, with especially with Rodrigo going to the Ultimate Fighter now. So,
Mhm.
that's really all it is, right? It's a big fight at the end of the day.
And man, you're just 20 years old already fighting for the belt, main event. Are you sort of surprised by how fast everything is coming? Because you're just a normal, regular kid from Vancouver, and your life is advancing so quickly right now. Are you just surprised by the pace that all of this is happening at?
It's going quick, but at the same time, I know I deserve to be here, right? I've shown 4 times in the octagon, all in 2024, that I deserve this opportunity, right? I've finished everybody, right? I fought an undefeated 2-time regional champ from the States in my last fight, and I got submission of the year against him, right? So again, that was the fight that taught me that I deserve to be where I'm at right now.
Absolutely. And Adam, when you win the belt, do you think that there are any other challengers and any other challenges left for you on the regional scene?
For sure, a couple. There's a lot of guys in Canada that I want to fight and regionally that I want to fight. But, at the same time, we just got to take it one fight at a time. Zackery Powell is my focus right now. I think this is one of the tougher fights on the regional scene that I could have. And that's exactly why I took this fight. So I'm ready for it. And whatever happens, happens.
And as you mentioned, you're absolutely not looking past Zach Powell. But what do you envision your path to the UFC to look like? Do you think that your path will be something similar to Rodrigo through Tough, or maybe a Dana White Contender Series show? And are you at all looking at these upcoming UFC cards like the one in Montreal, or there is also a rumored UFC Fight Night heading to Vancouver in October, or any US cards? Are you sort of looking at any of those cards and just, thinking that you could be a short replacement, staying in shape, maybe for to receive, a short notice call?
I mean, it's possible, right? But I wouldn't mind a couple more fights regionally, locally before I, go off, because also it's like I haven't fought in Vancouver in 11 months, right? Like my last fight in Vancouver was May 9th at BFL 80. So,
Mhm.
I wouldn't mind fighting in Vancouver regionally a couple more times, but hey, who knows, right? If we get the call up for that Vancouver card, that'd be, pretty cool. But again, I'm only 20 years old, right? I've got skills to be here. I'm good enough to be here. We know where I'm gonna go, and we're just gotta let it happen. Just let it play out.
Absolutely. And Adam, has the situation with Rodrigo, getting on the Ultimate Fighter, showed you anything? And perhaps you saw that happen, and you were like, oh, getting to the UFC is actually, super possible, especially through BFL. Just wondering if that situation, showed you anything.
Well, I mean, and we always knew that it was possible for me, right? Like, look where I'm at, right? I'm 20 years old. I had my first amateur fight maybe like, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and look where it got me, right? So it's like with the experience that I have, it's it's destined to happen. Almost every single person can look at my career situation and say that this is guaranteed going to happen, right? And especially, with a good finish in this fight, then it's a guaranteed lock, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And Adam, just a couple last questions here for you. Just wondering, man, is there any UFC fighter currently that you enjoy watching and you're sort of a fan of?
Canadian or in general?
Just in general.
In general, I mean, I like Islam Makhachev. I always find his fights very entertaining. He's got some very creative. He fights with a lot of creative techniques that I really like. But one guy I really liked a lot lately was he kind of rubbed me the right way in his last fight when he went to enemy territory and absolutely dominated the way he did, and that's Sean Brady. Right, he went out and put on an absolute clinic on Leon, and he was the first one to, I think, finish him in the UFC. I think first one to finish him in general. Right, so that was pretty cool to see him, choke out Leon, and gives me an idea of what I want to do in this fight potentially. So never know.
Mhm, mhm. And I saw that UFC fighter Michael Malott follows you on Instagram.
Yep.
Just wondering about your guys' relationship, with Mike Malott.
Yeah, so Mike actually messaged me about training ironically, at my opponent's gym in Niagara. And
Okay.
I was considering doing it for like, a part of this camp, just as like a loose idea. I didn't really have anything set in stone, but I thought loosely. I'm like, well, maybe, if I'm fighting like some international guy, right? Sure, maybe we can, train with Mike Malott, a UFC fighter that I actually really like. He's a guy I like too, by the way. Um, and yeah, no, I thought about doing it, and then all of a sudden, this fight came up, right? And again, I'm not going to say no to an opportunity, right? It's a legit opponent for one of the top promotions in Canada. So it's what we got to do, and that's the way it goes.
Mhm, mhm. And also, man, just wondering, how massive will this moment on April 17th be for your father? You guys have a beautiful relationship. He's your father and also your lifelong coach. And just wondering how massive and how much will it mean for him, to get that BFL welterweight title, and also, of course, one day, get that UFC contract. How big will this be for your
Yeah,
for your dad?
it'll be cool, right? It's a cool thing because we've had a couple guys from he's coached a couple guys in high level fights in BFL. Right? One of them actually was against Ali, and then
Mhm,
Ali beat one of my buddies, and you know unfortunately we've never quite had that breakthrough, right? So I'm kind of the closest thing to that breakthrough, right? I've beat an undefeated guy, beat a legit guy, and then now it's
mhm.
time to just get the title, and it'd be pretty cool for for him and my team.
Mhm. And man, just two last questions here. Also wondering if you, met at all or, spoke with Jaden Martin, and just wondering, what's the, recent update on Jaden Martin?
I haven't talked to him too much, really. I mean, I saw him at the last event, but I guess the news wasn't really out. So
Mhm,
yeah, I don't know. We kind of talked a little bit at the BFL in January. So like yeah,
mhm,
but apart from that, we didn't really talk about like the thing that happened with him and FKP. So and again, it's a fairly serious issue, right? He's been there for a long time and whatnot, and it's probably a big adjustment for him, right? Because again, he's been sidelined for a little bit, and he's trying to get back in there, but now it's a little bit harder because now if he's going to get back in there, he's going to have a new team, right? So I don't know where it is, I don't know where he's training, but it's a tricky situation, right? Because Chris Franco's coached him for 20 years, right? Every single fight Jaden's had, he's had Chris Franco corner him, right? So it's kind of now it's kind of in a situation where it's like he has a layoff where he's out for almost a year now, but
mhm.
now it may be a bit longer because now he has to adjust his team and get used to new guys cornering him, right? So we have to see how that's going to go.
Mhm, mhm. And Adam, my last question is, something that almost, seems inevitable one day. Do you want the life of a UFC star athlete? A couple million followers on your Instagram, and just how important would it be for you to, live that life of a, that lifestyle of a star UFC athlete?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just doing this, because, getting to the big show is the goal, right? Again, the fighting is what I'm focusing on, right? I'm not, a huge Instagram person, as you can probably tell. I'm not like, even local standards, right? I'm not that followed on, for local standards in, BFL and whatnot. But, again, that doesn't really matter, right? Who's the guy that's headlining his first card at 20 years old with a 100% finish rate? Fighting one of the top guys in Canada, right? So that's the part that I got to focus on more rather than the side Instagram things, right? Again, that's kind of, you got to take time away to focus on that a little bit, in my opinion.
Mhm. And before we wrap all of this up, could we get your final prediction for this fight?
The first man to finish Zach Powell on April 17th and become the new BFL welterweight champion.
Absolutely, man. And could we also get a final message for all of your fans and everyone at Simon Posner's MMA Penetration?
Yeah, no, if there's any fans watching this, I think, just tune in April 17th and we're going to get our first title of many.
Absolutely, man. Adam, I wish you all the luck on April 17th, and I know you'll get the job done, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you.